So after Klal Yisrael had the Chet HaEgel, it says Moshe Rabbeinu went up and he davened for Rebbeinu Shalom for Kapora, and he saw that it was a Is Ratzon. So the pasuk says that Moshe Rabbeinu asked three things from the Rebbeinu Shalom. Pasuk says the first thing Moshe Rabbeinu asked is that the Rebbeinu Shalom told them after they did the Aveira of the Egel that v'shalachti lefanecha malach, that the Rebbeinu Shalom, Rashi explains, Rashi brings down from Chazal, the Rebbeinu Shalom said that I'm not going to be resting the Shechina anymore among Klal Yisrael. It's going to be a middleman, a malach. And Moshe Rabbeinu asked that the Rebbeinu Shalom should rest the Shechina again with Klal Yisrael. Moshe Rabbeinu said, "Yedidenu R Avrohom the Rebbeinu Shalom said, that I will rest again myself, I will be among Klal Yisrael. The Rebbeinu Shalom is going to be Masher the Shechina again among Klal Yisrael, right after Shlishi, Pasuk Yedal. And Moshe Rabbeinu told the Rebbeinu Shalom, we need the Rebbeinu Shalom, we need the Rebbeinu Shalom himself, the Shechina, to be among Klal Yisrael. And then Moshe Rabbeinu, the Rashi says, asked another bakasha. Ubamei yivoda eifa ki motzasi chen beinecha, ani v'amecha, haloi belechtecha imanu, v'neflinu ani v'amcha mekol ha'am. Moshe Rabbeinu asked the Rebbeinu Shalom, the Rebbeinu Shalom should not be masher the Shechina on the Ummah Sa'olam, it should be exclusively this Shechina that the Rebbeinu Shalom is going to be masher on Klal Yisrael, should be exclusively for Klal Yisrael, and the Rebbeinu Shalom should not be masher the Shechina on any other nation. And the Rebbeinu Shalom said, Gam hasadava hazeh asher dibarto eseh ki motzasi chen beinecha v'da'acha b'shem. That this bakasha as well, this request, the Rebbeinu Shalom said, I'm not going to be masher the Shechina on Ummah Sa'olam. And then there's a third request. Vayomer hareini noes kvodecha. Moshe Rabbeinu said, I want to see you, the Rebbeinu Shalom. And the Rebbeinu Shalom answered, Vayomer ani avi kol tuv al panecha, but Vayomer leisucha liris es panai k'lil yirani ha'adam v'chay. That much you can't be, and we all know the Rebbeinu Shalom went from the back, not the front. We don't know what it is, kaviyachol. But on this request of Hareini noes kvodecha, it doesn't seem like Moshe Rabbeinu got an answer b'chlal. Two of them, the Rebbeinu Shalom said fine, and the third one he said no. So there's a Mordechai Gemara in Brachas Daf Zayin. The Gemara says, V'omer Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rabbi Yossi, Shloishe Dvarim Bikesh Moshe Melefnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu V'nosan Lo. There was three requests that Moshe Rabbeinu davened for the Rebbeinu Shalom. Rebbeinu Shalom gave it to him and said, yeah. The first one is, so the Gemara, Bikesh Shetishra Shechina al Yisrael. He asked the Rebbeinu Shalom should be masher the Shechina with Klal Yisrael. V'nosan Lo. And the Rebbeinu Shalom gave it to him. Shenemar halei belechtecha imanu. Rebbeinu Shalom, you should go among us. Second one, Bikesh Lo Tishru Shechina alei v'dikachavim. He shouldn't have Shechina among the Goyim. V'nosan Lo. And the Rebbeinu Shalom gave it to him. Shenemar v'neflinu ani v'amecha. We should be separate from the nations. We should stand down in exclusivity, and only Klal Yisrael should have the Shechina. And the third one, Bikesh lo yediyah dracha shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu v'nasan lo shenemar Yedidenu R Avrohom. You should see the Rebbeinu Shalom, he said Yedidenu R Avrohom, and it was given to him. So the Aleph is, if you read the Psukim, it sounds like only two he was answered. The third one was a no. The Rebbeinu Shalom said, Lo yuchal adam liris es panai, that you can't see me, and it's not going to work. So what does that mean? That Shloisha bakashas he was asked and he was nasan lo. And Beis, the Gemara itself is a pal. The Gemara is three bakashas Moshe Rabbeinu asked. Moshe Rabbeinu was the Roya Yisrael. He was the one that's Savur and Chazal that davened for Klal Yisrael throughout the whole Yetzias Mitzrayim, the whole days in the Midbar. What was he doing? He kept on standing and davening for the Rebbeinu Shalom for the good of Klal Yisrael. And many times the Rebbeinu Shalom answered his tefillah and said, yeah, and he helped out Klal Yisrael. So what does that mean? That Sholosh Bakashas of Moshe Rabbeinu, there was three Bakashas that he was Nana, that the Rebbeinu Shalom said, yeah, Moshe Rabbeinu's whole life was a life filled of davening for Klal Yisrael on behalf of Klal Yisrael, and the Rebbeinu Shalom answered him. So Sholish Bakashas Bikesh Moshe V'Nasan, there was exclusive 3 Bakashas. It was Moshe Rabbeinu throughout his lifetime. 3 Bakashas he asked the Rebbeinu Shalom, the Rebbeinu Shalom gave it to him. 3. There was hundreds, if not thousands, of Bakashas that Moshe Rabbeinu asked the Rebbeinu Shalom, and he was answered. And number 3, L'chayr Shver the Gemara. The Gemara, interesting Gemara. Usually the Gemara brings down, it says 3 Bakashas. V'nasan loy. The Gemara says shenemar. The Gemara brings down. He says, you should show me. The Gemara just brings down the bakasha. The Gemara doesn't bring down where the v'nasan loy, where the Rebbeinu Shalom answered him. If we'd be writing the Gemara, we would say the pasuk says, the Rebbeinu Shalom said, "Gamas adon hazeh asher dibarti esa." I'll do it. Bring down what you're trying to show, that the Rebbeinu Shalom answered him and said, yeah, we'll do whatever you requested. But in all these 3 bakashas, the Gemara says, Bikesh lo'idiyah dracha shal HaKadosh Baruch Hu, shem v'nasan lo shenemar, ha'idiyah no'as drachecha. Bikesh, that's lo'itishach shchina andoy v'kecham v'nasan lo shenemar, v'neflino ani v'amecha. The Gemara doesn't bring down, the Gemara just brings down what he asked. It doesn't bring down b'chlal, that answer v'nasan loy, that it was given to him. So what's the pshat? The Gemara left out the main akuda. The Gemara is saying there was 3 that he was answered with the yen. The Gemara doesn't bring down b'chlal the answer. So I was thinking there was a chashav yid. He was niftan when he was 34. His name was Rabbi Avrohom Kaplan. Ben Rabbi Avrohom Kaplan. His father was also 34 when he was nifta, before he was born. And Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky one time said upon him that if he would have lived, the whole world would have looked different. He was a going. So he said a word like this. We say David HaMelech says, "Yismach leiv מבקשי Hashem." That those are mevakesh Hashem, those that strive to grow in Yiddishkeit, those that strive to have an aliyah and ruchnias. The pasuk says, "Yismach leiv מבקשי Hashem." They're happy. We're looking at the pursuit of happiness. Dr. Torah Yismach leiv. Dr. pasuk Yismach leiv. מבקשי Hashem. So he says, the ordinary thing when someone is striving to accomplish something, until they have it accomplished, it's very frustrating. There's nothing that makes a person happy in the middle of a pursuit of trying to accomplish something. But when over here it says, the pasuk Yismach leiv Mevakshei Hashem. Those that are Mevakesh Hashem are full with happiness. The Mevakesh Hashem, if anything, it should be a little bit of a downward feeling. You're striving to get there, you're not there yet, and until we're there, where's the happiness come from? So he says, he says the pshat is that it's not the same thing. Someone wants to build a house, so you start building the house until you have the house finished. It's just filled with frustrations, and getting along the way is just a long road of frustrations. By Mevakshei Hashem, by someone that wants to get close to the Rebbeinu Shalom, that itself, that the person is mevakesh, that itself, that the person strives to get close, that itself creates the closeness that there is, that the person wants to get to Rebbeinu Shalom. And Memela Yismach leiv Mevakshei Hashem, that the person that's mevakesh to get close to the Rebbeinu Shalom, that within itself is what's mesamech, that fills a person with happiness, that feeling of fulfillment. Because in the Mevakesh Hashem itself, there's a point of bringing out, and that's what a person gets when he's going to feel closer to the Rebbeinu Shalom, mitzad the bikush itself. And you find this music that some Gedolim said, Chaznish said he always strove to be like the Goyim, and Baruch Ber said he strove to be like Rebbeinu, and that's why the Welt says they got to where they got to go. What's the pshat? It's not just because the Rebbeinu Shalom is Mida Keneg and Mida. The pshat is b'yesodeh in the bikush for something, the goal of what you're mevakesh for and ruchnius already is all nechlal in toiv achris davar mirishisa. If there's a rachis, there's a start, the achris is already included, the outcome is included in the rachis. And that's how it works by ruchnius, and Memela, that's why b'yesodeh it's already attained in the bikush itself. The many tefillas that Moshe Rabbeinu davened to the Rebbeinu Shalom on behalf of Klal Yisrael were tefillas. They were tefillas to make it better for Klal Yisrael, to fulfill any need that Klal Yisrael needed. But there's 3 times that Moshe Rabbeinu requested a direct aliyah in the connection that Klal Yisrael has between the Rabbeinu Shalom and Klal Yisrael. And those are the 3 times that the Gemara refers to. That there was only 3 times that Bikesh Moshe Sholosh Bakashas. Moshe Rabbeinu asked for 3 times. And the Gemara does, and he was answered, and the Gemara just brings down the 3 Bakashas that he was answered, because the Bakasha itself was the answer. If he was striving that the Shechina should be Shari in Klal Yisrael, that Klal Yisrael should be connected in a way to the Rabbeinu Shalom that no other nation is connected, that itself is what brought about that connection that the Rabbeinu Shalom had with Klal Yisrael, because the Bikush itself is what brings it about. And if you read the pasuk, Moshe Rabbeinu asked the Rabbeinu Shalom, Moshe said, "Hareini no espeidecha." Show me the full cover of the Rabbeinu Shalom. And the Rabbeinu Shalom answered him, no, there's no such thing as full. Because in Bikush and striving in Ruchnius, there's always another step in Aliyah. The Rabbeinu Shalom said, Ma'achirai, you'll see a little bit. But when you get to that point, it's always Ma'achirai. There's always another step of Bikush, and there's always another step of going further, and that step gives you closer to the Rabbeinu Shalom. Shlomo HaMelech says, Toiv achris dovim reishisai. The end result is better than the beginning. I mean, Shlomo HaMelech was a chacham mikol adam. That's a big onus to say that, you're building a house, the house is finished. It's better than when you started building the house. Of course, that's not what he was saying. So Shlomo HaMelech is saying that Toiv achris dovim, because an end, every end has within it the beginning, another rachis. And that's why it's Toiv Achris Dovim Reishisai, because every Achris is within itself another rachis. Every Achris has another Bikush, has another step of going forward in Avodas Hashem and connecting the person to Avodas Hashem. So that's why it's these 3 things the Gemara says, and it was only these 3 things. And it was Nenazak the Gemara. How do you know it was Nenazak? The Gemara doesn't have to bring down, he was answered. The Gemara brings down because this is what he asked for, this is what he was Mavakish. If this is what he was Mavakish, that within itself means that he attained that, and he got the Rabbeinu Shalom to agree to be closer to Klal Yisrael. It's interesting. We know that the pasuk says in the Torah a little bit before in the parasha. It says after Moshe Rabbeinu went, Klal Yisrael did Aver the Ego. Moshe Rabbeinu came down, and it says he moved his oil to the Mechutz L'Machana. And it says V'hoye kol mevakesh Hashem yeitzei chutz l'machana. So we want to know what's the easiest way to strive for this, having this bikush, this growth in Avodas Hashem. Zok the Targum Onkelos, Mevakesh Hashem. What's the Taich of Mevakesh Hashem? V'tova ofena, the one that wants to learn. You want to know what the Rabbeinu Shalom is chavrei as a Mevakesh Hashem, as someone that's striving for greatness. How do we go about striving for greatness? Zok the Targum V'tova ofena. If a person has a sheifa to learn, to grow in learning, that is a Mevakesh Hashem. That's what the pasuk defines as Mevakesh Hashem. And it's interesting. The first time you find that the pasuk refers to as Mevakshei Hashem is only in our parsha, where it says Moshe Rabbeinu put Mechutz L'Machana. When Yisro came and he asked Moshe, what's Klal Yisrael doing? Moshe Rabbeinu said, V'hoye lahem u'davar lishal elai. He referred to Klal Yisrael when they come to him to ask it in Torah was a question. He didn't say Mevakshei Hashem. Or you call Mevakshei Hashem. Over here the Torah says Mevakshei Hashem. Why? Because over here it was Mechutz L'Machana. It was out of a person's comfort zone. Up to that point, Chazal say that the Rebbeinu Shalom told him that should be Shulchan Aruch. Give it to Klal Yisrael on a gold platter, that they could have the access to Torah as a set table. At this point, that is Mechutz L'Machana. The person goes out of his comfort zone. That's Mevakshei Hashem. That's chavrei. You see the Gevaldik Aliyah. We Baruch Hashem have that schus every single morning to go out of the comfort zone. Mevakshei Hashem for v'tol for tava ofena. Let's talk to be zeicha to yismach lei Mevakshei Hashem.